Why, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 1-0 podcast. I'm Avery Hill.
I'm Lyle Allenstein.
I'm Will Horseman.
The college football season is finally over. Penn State season's been over for a while, but Indiana beat Miami in the national championship this past Monday. We're not going to talk about the actual national championship, but there is something really that we want to talk about. And then we'll also, move on to the offseason, look at where Penn State is, and then a little bit of recruiting, a top recruit, and a top matchup that we all want to talk about today. I'll start with the rankings. A lot of different outlets have dropped their way too early 2026 rankings, and they have Penn State ranked. I can read through a few. You have ESPN at number 22 for Penn State. Pro Football Focus, or PFF, has Penn State at number 24. And On3 has Penn State at number 14. I'm just going to get you guys' immediate reactions. What do you think of these rankings? Are they fair?
Yeah, 14 might be a little steep for my personal preseason ranking evaluations based off of the season just ending. Look, I could see him being unranked. I could see him being in the late 20s. Yeah, that's how that works, I guess, with evaluating top 25 teams. But it's like you're looking at the current roster construction of Penn State, and it's a hodgepodge of people that you're able to pull together with eligibility left from last year's squad. Most of it being young guys, good, significant amount of young guys that have bright futures ahead based on where the projections stand. Darius Dixon, Yvonne Kamaju, Max Scramble, to name a few. A couple of veteran guys coming back that are starters. Tony Rojas, obviously season-ending injury. Anthony Donko, 2-year starter in the offensive line. And then you've got Iowa State. I think the number right now is 25 Cyclones coming in. Bunch of young guys, and you've got Rocco back, Ben Brahmer, Marcus Neal Jr., guys who've contributed. But you're looking at an Iowa State team that I believe went 8-4 a year ago. Penn State went 7-5. And you're trying to form your best roster from it. You have a couple of key guys from the portal that could play. I look at like non-Iowa State additions. That is, I'm looking at James Peoples, the Ohio State running back. A couple of those UCLA defensive tackles. Keanu Williams being one of them. But it's like, granted, take everything with a grain of salt. It's like this early in the year. But, based on where things stand right now, 14 for me is just, it's rich, right? Like, especially when you saw what happened last year, or when Penn State was 2, 3, 7 at these various stages of the preseason, and you go unranked. And I guess that's good for Matt Campbell and this new regime, getting some appreciation despite accomplishing absolutely nothing than cultivating a roster and a staff, but 14 too high for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with Lyle. I mean, 14, that's too high, and personally, it's like if I was voting, I feel like I'd need to see it to believe it with Penn State in a way where it's like, okay, they ended the season 7-6, it's like gonna need to trust them again before I would rank them in the top 25, I suppose. But generally speaking, I feel like preseason rankings are also just kind of just meaningless, just meant to promote discussion and just discourse in the off season when there's no games going on. Because I mean, obviously we saw that with Penn State getting ranked number 2 in the preseason, and then obviously the season that happened. So I mean, Penn State, I think they could be and make a push to get one of 23, 24, 25, something there once the AP preseason polls come around in August. But otherwise, I think they would be lucky to be in the receiving votes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is all that matters really is at the beginning of the season, the AP poll, that kind of sets you up for everything. And in the end, the college football playoff. But you're going to have these way too early rankings, which is why
we are framing your basement man cave.
Yep, exactly. Those are things that you can frame. You can frame the I don't know if you frame AP, but you'll frame a college football playoff. We were the number 1 team in the country. I don't know. But either way, preseason rankings, they are what James Franklin said they were, even though things still didn't work out, even, as he tried to push that away. It is what it is. I think that number 14, I agree, is high. I kind of want to go through some of the teams ranked below Penn State. So you have Ole Miss at 15, Utah at 16, Alabama at 17, 18, Washington. And go through a few more. Tennessee, who obviously has Jim Knowles and Josh Heupel, who expects to have higher expectations. Then Penn State is ranked at number 20. Iowa is ranked, for those wondering. Virginia Tech, James Franklin's Virginia Tech, is at 23. 24 is Florida. and 25 is Arizona. I think I literally just left out Iowa when I read down that list, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that obviously that is a little high, but we have a long off season to go. We haven't even seen Rocco back outside of a sling, in the Penn State uniform or anything yet. Like, we haven't seen, you got to see him put everything together. When you look at, his receiving core, you can talk about James Peoples as well, running back, having a new team, obviously, a new conference and everything. There's a lot of questions. But I will say that ranking Penn State in general, I understand, because especially when you look at their early end of the season, I would expect Penn State to be ranked when you look at what Temple and what Marshall this year. Yeah, Marshall, even Maryland, like games like that, like you're going to expect Penn State to be ranked in the early part of the season. We'll see what happens when they get through the stretch of everything, but I still think that at some point you'll see Penn State ranked, whether it's in the AP poll or the college football playoff overall poll, of course.
Yeah, the schedule is definitely a lighter one. Even compared to this past season, obviously the record didn't reflect what it should have been going into the season with the talent on paper. But it's just like you brought up Rocco Beck, and granted, the rankings you just listed, I believe, were all off of the On3 one.
Yeah, that was on 3.
Yeah, so it's like Rocco Beck is in a sling, okay? Right? He posted on Instagram. He did a nice little dump the other day with his photo from when he visited the first time around before he committed. Shoulder injuries in both shoulders. One was an AC sprain, one was a torn something. I don't have all my medical terminology down right now.
Maybe labrum, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was
partially
torn labrum. That's what it was. Partially torn labrum was in the left shoulder. AC was in the right. There we go. That's his throwing hand, the right. But like, how are you gonna? We don't know when he's gonna actually get back on the practice field, right? Surgery was at the end of the season because he played through it, obviously banged up. He told Pete Thamel of ESPN that he had to wear a sling till the 11th of January. We're past that. Today's the 22nd. By the time you're watching it, this will be the 23rd. But we don't know, obviously, when that he could be out of the sling right now. We're just basing this off the Instagram dump, right? But it's like, when are you going to be back to fully operating at football speed? You're going to have to work back. Injuries in the shoulders is your throwing motion, right? So you have to work it back. Who knows if we'll see him operating at full capacity in spring practice. We don't even know if we're actually going to be allowed at spring practice because the new regime and media policies might change. But it's like, some of these rankings, you take everything with a grain of salt, but it's like, how much are you really factoring in all these extra things that are going on? There's tons of moving parts, both on the field, the staff. But it's like, you can make that argument with these other teams, too, in the rankings. Because you talk about Tennessee, like Jim Knowles, he's rebuilding that whole defense. You've got a bunch of those guys going there. Look at Virginia Tech, okay, the Penn State Hokies, Penn State Cyclones, whatever how you want to evaluate these changes. Tons of moving parts. Penn State Tar Heels. Yeah.
Penn State Mountaineers.
Yeah, but it's like, when you look across the country, you've got all these Ole Miss guys going to LSU. You've got all the JMU guys going to UCLA. You've got all the USF guys going to Auburn. It's like, it's really hard to gauge where some of these teams stand. And now this is a tangent going away from Penn State. But it's like, when you're looking at all these rankings this early in the process, everything's just projection based off, what's on paper and not actually things that are going into it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Penn State to kind of look forward to is not really worrying about all that. Because, again, that's how they got to the point in the first place. This is why it is a debate that Penn State is being ranked.
Gotta go 1-0.
Exactly. Being ranked in the 15th, being ranked in the top 15 in the country, that's some debate. Last year, it was like, oh, why are they maybe not number one? And, or going into last season and everything. Even, I don't remember what their way too early ranking was, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty favorable given, their run into the college football playoffs and stuff like that. Clearly it's about staying afloat. That kind of brings us to our next topic. As we said, Indiana won the national championship. Curt Cignetti, masterful game, that fourth down, all of that. But it has been, honestly, an incredible rise from Indiana. Obviously being the losingest program in Power 4 and Power 5 and Power conferences in college football to winning a national championship, not just, rising up to being the number one team and winning the Big Ten championship. They got it all done, and it took, 2 years. I just want to ask you guys, do you think that timeline is possible for Penn State? Obviously, there are a couple different circumstances, but again, new coach, bringing in a lot of different, transfers, a lot of new talent, things like that. Do you think it's possible that Penn State returns to that level or gets to that level that fast.
I mean, I'd say with no because I mean I feel like Kurt Signetti, that's kind of just a statistical significant like I don't think that's gonna happen again. In a sense, it's that was just feels like such low odds of happening, turning a program around that quickly and reaching the top of college football in just 2 years. So I'm gonna go with no. And also, you look at Matt Campbell. He didn't win any conference championships at Iowa State. Kurt Signetti, I mean, Google him. He won at every place.
I want to do that real quick.
Every place that he coached at. So I'd say Kurt Signetti is the better coach than Matt Campbell, at least right now. And so in that case, I just don't feel like that Matt Campbell and Penn State's gonna be able to kind of replicate that. But I mean, maybe down the line, 10 years or something like that from now, Penn State could win or be back in national championship contention. But otherwise, I don't think that Penn State is going to turn around in 2 years and win a title.
Wait, can I say I Googled him real quick? It does say he wins. It
Yep,
does say
he
he
won.
wins. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does say Kurt Signetti wins. You can kind of look that up yourself and see it. I guess Kurt Signetti does win. You can go ahead, Lau.
Yeah, when you look at Signetti's journey to get to where he is, obviously he was on that loaded Alabama staff under Nick Saban. He took a shot on himself, and he went all these different places from IUP, Elon, to JMU, and then obviously at Indiana. And you look at it, he had his OC and his DC with him the whole time, and then but he's bringing all these guys with him to all these various places. And just a prime example of just bringing JMU guys to Indiana, and it's under-recruited. That's how it is. Under-recruited guys, low stars, no stars even. Veteran guys that are old, addresses positions of need in the transfer portal with not necessarily the most highly sought-after guys. This is before this current cycle, obviously. But it's and then you just put it all together, they won. There were questions about weak schedule, I guess, last year, quote-unquote, in year one for him, even though they went 11-1. Those losses were to Ohio State. And I'm blanking on who they lost to in the playoffs.
Notre Dame in the playoffs.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
27-17.
Right. There. Yeah. There's the numbers
I
guy.
heard Jeremiah Love.
Yes. But it's and then put it all together. He beat Oregon, beat all these Alabama blowout. Regardless of what era you're looking in, blowing out any Alabama team in that fashion is ridiculous. And so, but you look at, I'm curious to see how Indiana evolves going from here. Because you're going to be able to attract more high-profile talent. Are you going to keep that same philosophy? Who knows? But it's I mentioned all the previous teams I talked about, with the coaching changes, going from one stop to another, just following their head coach. In the past, Kirk Signetti brought in, I think, 20-plus guys from JMU to Indiana. Normally, when you look at head coaching changes, you're bringing in the cream of the crop from your old school to your new school, especially when you're looking at those that are going from non-Power 4 or 5 conferences to Power 4/5 conferences, because not all those guys necessarily, with JMU Indiana being an outlier, can compete at that stage. You just got to flat out say it how it is. There's a reason you weren't being recruited at one point in that time to play in those conferences. But Iowa State, right, to Penn State, Ole Miss to LSU, you're seeing close to the numbers, definitely Iowa State to Penn State, but you're seeing close to the numbers of guys that left from JMU to go to Indiana. So you're going to get a good, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to do it in 2 years. That's just ridiculous what Signetti did. I mean, he's got all the flowers in the world because he deserves them. But it's I think this next 5-10 years, especially with the transfer portal era, obviously the way this coaching cycle and carousel has turned out these past couple of years has played out, it'll be interesting to see if anyone can pull it together in, I'll say, 5 years, right? I think the 2-year turnaround would be ridiculous. And if people are consistently doing that, like Signetti did on a consistent basis, I think there's a problem with college football. But I'm going to go with, in the 2 years, no. I think if you look past that, if Penn State can do it, yes, because you're adjusting with a program that's got a ton of resources. It's got historical, I don't want to call them a blue blood, but they're in the tier, I'd say, right outside it. They've got the resources to do it, so I wouldn't be shocked if they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with Kurt Signetti that makes the achievement so significant was how bad Indiana was before that. Again, this is an all-time worst program that made an historically quick rise. And again, when you talk about it, it is not he's getting guys from JMU. And granted, JMU is, the cream of the crop when you talk about the
JMU's
Sun Belt.
no slash.
Yeah,
they're
no,
in
for
the
sure.
house.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wait, so JMU, in their own right, will run, the Sun Belt. When they were in the FCS, they really ran the FCS. Like, everyone knew JMU was just kind of primed to come up to the FBS level at some point. But at the same time, you're expecting those guys, okay, and those guys hit the portal, yeah, maybe they, a few of them can go, Power 5. But most of the time when you see guys, especially that started on the FCS level, that jump up usually goes to Group of 5. So to get those guys, obviously you got others. I mean, obviously Fernando Mendoza, which Fernando Mendoza was a good quarterback at Cal. People forget that he just played for Cal. Like, if you watch Cal, Fernando Mendoza was a good quarterback. I mean, they've had players, Jay Nod, of course, a few other guys, but he got these guys. But he, Kurt Signetti is the best coach in college football. Like, I don't think that's a debate. I mean, the only person you throw in there is Kirby Smart, and that's just really because of prestige and how long that sustained success. But the way he's elevated talent there, that is what makes the difference. So I think for Penn State, the only thing is, one, it's a little different in terms of comparisons because, again, this is a program that started here and went all the way up here. Penn State is starting, like, right here and really, like, right here because of last season. And they're trying to make their way up. But, I mean, I don't think, it's entirely impossible. I will say I do think the 2-year timeline isn't as impossible if you don't consider the fact that they were, like, the worst program ever. Like, let's say Oklahoma State or something. If Oklahoma State is in the playoffs within 2 years, I'm not going to be shocked. Like, I mean, again, I think it was On3 that has them ranked in there way too early, top 25. I mean, they won one game.
I'd like to know
season.
what they know.
Yeah, like, they are, like, it is a lot easier nowadays in college football to make that jump given the transfer portal and everything. But I think the more important thing would kind of be that sustained success. Because you do see seasons. Again, you'll see your SMU. And SMU is still trying to hang on. But SMU isn't the SMU that it was last season. Boise State isn't the Boise State that it was last season, obviously. Without Ashton Genty, that makes a big difference. But to have that sustained success, I think is important. I do think that Penn State will get itself to a point where it can be, at the top. But I think that is still an adjustment period, especially for Matt Campbell. Still a lot of things that he didn't do at Iowa State, and that's not, a knock on his resume. It's just, again, if you're talking about Kurt Signetti, that is a whole different level of things. So I think it would be kind of interesting to see how fast Penn State is able to grow, which, again, I think the transfer portal, which is something that Penn State didn't use a lot before, is something that's going to be very important in that aspect. But I think we can kind of transition to our next topic. Penn State lost a commitment when James Franklin was fired, and it might be getting one back. Keemon Spell, 5-star, number 1 running back. Was he number 4 in the country?
Something like that.
In some rankings, top 10 for sure. In the 2027 class, 2027. Yeah, I'm getting old. Yep, in the 2027 class, and he's visiting Penn State this weekend. There's a chance that after all, Penn State is going to get Keemon Spell. I mean, do you guys think it's going to happen?
It's interesting because you look at if we want to go with the expert predictions, the crystal balls, the RPMs of the world, they've coupled between 247 and On3 have been locked. And it's interesting because I'm not aware of Penn State going out to McKeesport that I've actually see them. You usually see things on social media and stuff like that. I know they were in. They went all around the WPIAL over the past couple of days. It's that time of the year, which is fun for me because I'm a big recruiting guy. I like seeing all these coaches.
And you're a big WPIAL guy.
Big WPIAL guy as well. WPIAL.
Explain for those at home.
The Western Pennsylvania Intercollegiate Athletic League. Maybe I'm from New York, but I love myself some Pennsylvania high school football. But this is the best running back in the class. He was on board early. I feel like a year ago, 2 years ago, we were talking about this. But really good player for a reason. He saw Penn State like 7 times, and that was the only school he saw before he even committed. He was there for the whiteout, wearing a blue sweatshirt. He was there for the Villanova game, I believe, when he was supposed to go to Notre Dame. It's a highly sought-after guy. This recruitment is far from over, even if he does commit. It's a big weekend for Penn State. They got a junior day coming up. He's with the first real influx of 2027s, 2028s that are going to be here under Matt Campbell and the new staff. But he's very clearly the headliner, and if they get it done, that's a great start for Matt Campbell on the recruiting front.
I mean, Spell's coming to Happy Valley this weekend. He announced this week, so I think this is kind of like a sort of like it would be like a home run for Campbell and his staff to land Spell's commitment. Just kind of like, I know it's like the best in PA, stay in PA, that whole mantra, that was like kind of James Franklin's thing, but it's like it's probably still in Matt Campbell's best interest to keep the top recruits in Pennsylvania in Pennsylvania, because I mean, even with Spell, or even not even considering Spell, it's like Pennsylvania has a lot of good 2027 recruits. I mean, the Gabe Jenkins, he was also committed. I mean, it's just there's a good amount of talent in Pennsylvania next cycle. So I mean, yeah, Spell would be a headline, would be a home run, and yeah, it'd be one of Campbell's best wins so far through his tenure here.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be understated. That would be an absolute, again, home run hire, a win, a huge one for Matt Campbell to get that, especially because when you talk about trying to get, obviously he has guys from Iowa State, but there's going to be a time where obviously most of those guys have already graduated. Some of them might move on to different programs. Like, he can't just keep plucking from Iowa State. I mean, there are eighth years, and we'll see how that happens. There might be, in about 5 years, a guy that was on Matt Campbell's staff 3 years ago that is now, or staff on his team 3 years ago that is now at Penn State. We don't know, but yeah. But it would be a huge recruiting win for Matt Campbell to get this. I mean, when you talk about a guy like Kemon Spell, like, I mean, I would say elite. I mean, I watched his film. Who was it? Aaron Donald that watched his film that was incredibly impressed. Really good running back that would obviously give you some familiarity in terms of getting a guy to, again, stay home, stay in Pennsylvania. That helps you grow that pipeline. You've seen with other schools where guys will follow their top guy. Like, I remember with Maryland watching when Rakim Jarrett committed and all of his teammates went and, oh, okay, I'm going to play in Maryland now. Obviously, it didn't work out for them, but that's a different story. But the gravity that you get when you pull in 5 stars, and again, just to be able to show that you can do so, making that jump from Iowa State to Penn State is tremendous. I think that would set up Matt Campbell and the program in a really good direction, and I think it would really establish a standard. Like, obviously, again, you're making that jump, and it's like, okay, is this a guy that is ready to hold those national championship expectations? If you can get these 5 stars, if you can, really attack the portal, I mean, he has done it this year, but I think it'll be a lot different next year in his first, full cycle with the team. I think it'll make a difference. I think it'll be, honestly, very interesting to see if Kemon Spell does actually commit, because I think that could be huge for Penn State, even though, as you said, Lyle, that recruiting battle isn't ending until, like, signing day, maybe the other signing day, because same as, I guess, Chris Henry, Ohio State. Like, teams are going to keep calling and keep calling and keep calling, because there are obviously certain players that you feel like are can't miss prospects.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame was in the mix even before the coaching change. I think he saw Ohio State. I think he saw Georgia. Like, it's everybody in the country wants him. But I think just him, the fact that there's even like a buzz about him getting back on board for Penn State, we'll see what happens come next week when we're recording again. But it's just a win in itself. Obviously you're not landing right at the part where they're just the staff's giving out offers. They're making their coaches on the road visits. But I think the early returns are positive. Guys you saw that were in the mix under James and the old staff are sticking. They're still interested. Will mention Gabe Jenkins. He's going to be here this weekend. Of a former commit, Khalil Taylor, another top guy in Pennsylvania, not here in Penn State, has a visit in the work. Leighton Von Brandt, another guy, former commit, on the brink of a 5-star. He's already been visited by the staff, and it's just like when Campbell was here for his introductory press conference, he talked about wanting to recruit the 6 to 8 hour radius. That's his goal. It's the Pennsylvania, it's the DMV, where Penn State has thrived recruiting under James Franklin. And you see some. Obviously, you're going to take your swings at the national guys across the country, just like James and the old staff. But he's making an effort so far. But the other thing he talked about was, on signing day, you don't look at the flash of the stars, right? You want guys that you believe in, that you can recruit, that you can develop. And that was his philosophy at Iowa State, and I'm sure it's going to carry over to Penn State. But the difference is that he's got more resources in NIL and backing from a university that is just taking strides in financially supporting its programs, and specifically football. Like, he's going to be able to do more in an area that's got more talent. No offense to the Iowa regions. There's obviously some guys that come out there. But Matt Campbell has there's a few guys that he's out of Iowa State that he's got on board beforehand, and then they blow up. Avery, this is his name, Jet Tamola. Alabama quarterback commit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was committed to Iowa State for a really long time before he blew up. And it's just names like there's a wide receiver that ended up signing with Miami that was committed to Iowa State that I'm totally blanking on. But it's just he's going to take his swings. Like Rocco Beck told ESPN that Matt Campbell is different now. Like he's got like a new like fire under him. And I think that's going to show on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Run out of time, but real quick, we really wanted to talk about this big matchup that Penn State has added. Penn State has replaced Delaware in 2027 with Maine. Guys, really quick, your thoughts.
I mean, I think it was kind of like expected that it's like they were gonna like just schedule another just random like team, just a free prime winner game. I mean, I'm not sure what else could have been expected because I mean you look at like when like a power conference team like schedules another power conference team, like those like scheduling agreements usually happen like 5, 10, even like 15 years out. So it's like when this like opening opens up at like in 2026 for a 2027 game, there's not really like any time to make like an actual like headline like non-conference opponent. So it's like not really surprising that they did a FCS team and not like someone more notable.
Yeah, it makes no sense to schedule a good team the way college football is
That too.
orchestrated right now. You don't get rewarded as Texas saw when they scheduled Ohio State past year and they didn't make the playoff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Maine, who Penn State men's hockey beat in the postseason last year 5-1. So maybe they get a hockey series out of this too. That'd be cool. Delaware is gonna end up playing Illinois. I remember before I covered the team, Penn State played Delaware, and that was the last snap that Jackson Smollett took, handing the ball off.
Yeah, I mean, Maine, I don't know. First thought I have is the Versus Edition is probably going to be really cool. Make sure you guys pick that up on the newsstands in 2027. But again, that's all we have for today. For more coverage, visit us at psucollegian.com, follow us on socials, and subscribe to our newsletter for content curated right to your inbox every Friday. We'll see you next time.